everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Katherine Felton, the founder and owner of Miss Helen's Teahouse, a luxury tea company founded in New Orleans. And we are here today with Anita Singleton-Prather, who is the founder and artistic director of the Gullah Kinfolk Traveling Partner, to talk about her new production, the Gullah American Revolutionary Experience. We're so excited to have Anita here with us today. She's a native of the Sea Islands of Beaufort, South Carolina, and is a founder and artistic director of the musical performance group Gullah Kinfolk's Traveling Theater. And as a storyteller, Miss Singleton Prather wrote the traveling group's 4 plays and as well as this accompanying music. So today, as I mentioned, we're going to talk about the newest production centered around the Gullah experience and contributions in the Revolutionary War. So, Miss Anita, I'm going to hand it over to you if you want to say a little bit about yourself, how you got into this body of work, and tell us about your new production.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, first of all, for having me, and thank you to Black Southern Belle for giving us this opportunity. I'm a native of Beaufort, South Carolina, which is known as the Queen of the Sea Islands, and we're surrounded by water. So, a series of connected islands by way of water. So, if you don't like water, Beaufort is not the place for you to come, because every half a mile or so you're going to run in a body of water. And so we are the heart of, I would say, Gullah Geechee history, American history, because America as we know it today actually started here in Beaufort, South Carolina on our Paris Island recruit base. People often talk about Jamestown, Virginia, but it actually started here 40 years before Jamestown. So if you're looking to find out how we fit in this puzzle called American history, you can start here in Beaufort with the Gullah Geechee, which is the taproot of American history. American history, Black history, world history. So I'm excited about that. And so I started this journey. It's always been part of my DNA. My parents were very pro Black, and even when Gullah Geechee was seen as something as negative, that was never their take on it. They taught us to be proud of our heritage, even the Gullah part of it. And so here I am. Started writing, I guess, plays when I was in about ninth grade and continued throughout college, and came back, graduated from Howard University, came back home and started writing plays for the children at the church. And then it became part of community things that I started doing. And when I started this Gullah Kinfolk, it was supposed to have been just for a short while, but that was 30 plus years ago. So
Yeah, that's exciting. So, what inspired this newest production? You talked a little about this. Why did you think this story was so important to tell?
Well, I was accustomed to telling the Gullah Geechee perspective from pre-Civil War, Civil War, Reconstruction, Civil Rights period. And so, I knew some of, just, I guess, surface history as far as the American Revolutionary War. And we ended up with a grant because we're coming up to the 250th celebration of the founding of America. So this grant came up, and they wanted to hear the Gullah Geechee side of this American Revolutionary War. And so when I started doing the research, it wasn't, let me see, it's hard. This has been one of the most challenging for me to write, because everything and everybody basically that people look as the heroes of the American Revolutionary War were slave owners. So they may have been their heroes, but they weren't ours. And so in doing this research, and you start going and you start digging and you start digging and you find out so many. For example, Ona Judge was owned by George Washington and Martha Washington.
Mhm.
And when she found out that Martha wanted to give her as a wedding gift to one of their granddaughters, she ran away. And the president at the time was upset. He said, ungrateful. How dare we treated her like she was a child instead of a servant. Well, you don't
Mhm.
give away your children or your grandchildren as if you were giving her a new doll baby or a new puppy or a new pony. You were giving her a person. And he was so upset that he wrote this letter to the Secretary of the Treasury at the time to say, I want her captured basically, and I don't want her to escape punishment. So when you talk about the great President George Washington, that's a different side. And there was
Mhm.
another one that Harry Washington was also one of his enslaved persons that came that was kidnapped in Africa and brought here, and he also escaped and joined the British side and ended up in Nova Scotia, Canada, and eventually went back to Sierra Leone when the Loyalists after the war ended. So there's those sides of the stories that I found so intriguing, and I think that especially in the climate that we have now, we need to hear the history, all of it, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I just think in this time, it's just so important for us to
Mm-hmm.
have our own narrative.
Yes,
When you
ma'am.
look at federal funding and the climate, it's like, okay, how do we get people to support institutions that are culture bearers? How do we support our own so we're not
Mm-hmm.
relying on grants and not having to subject ourselves to any rules or parameters?
Mm-hmm.
Telling the truth, like you said, the good, bad, and the ugly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, gotten really close to Whitney Plantation, and not, the fact that we survived such atrocity
Mm-hmm.
while
Mm-hmm.
as people and we don't want to repeat the past, it's also important to tell young people that it's in your DNA to survive.
To survive, honey.
Right?
Most.
And now that we're past survival, like how
Mm-hmm.
can you conjure like that DNA inside you to do amazing
Oh,
things?
honey, we have
It's
to just like I'm
how
so glad you said that we're not just survivors, but we are thrivers.
absolutely,
And so we have to know we have to pull on the strength that's
absolutely,
in our just like you said in our DNA. Because we can go back to the middle passage for it. And
absolutely.
the
If you
hours
made it
of
through the passage, then you made it
mm-hmm,
through slavery, you made it through sugar caning, like
mm-hmm.
you got
Oh,
something in you.
you got
It is
something in
in your body
and
to
giving up is not an option.
yes.
Throwing in the towels is not an option.
Mhm.
And let me say this, and I was just sharing this yesterday with somebody. I said, it's insanity for us to think that people who oppressed us and you say hate us, but
Mhm.
then you look for that same person to save you. That's
Mhm.
insanity, not on their part, on our part.
Mhm. Yeah,
We are the only people looking for our oppressors to tell the truth about our heritage
exactly.
and to save it when
Exactly.
it's our responsibility.
Precisely. So we are that's all the more reason I'm excited about this project.
Mm-hmm,
I'm excited
mm-hmm.
about visiting Bluffton and Hilton Head.
And
So I've
yeah,
been to Hilton Head, but
okay,
I frankly was relaxing on the beach. So when I go back, tell me what I need to be doing. Where do I need to go? What do
okay.
I need to
You got to
see?
come. First of all, you got to come see me.
Yes,
That's
absolutely. I
but
absolutely will.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
give me a little rundown of what I need to see. What should be on my top five? Where
Well,
to go?
of course, Penn Center, which is an iconic landmark of the Gullah Geechee story of success and victory.
One
It's a
second,
good place to start.
hold
When I tell people that's a good
on.
starting point, but don't stop there because there's so many facets and so many layers of Gullah Geechee history that you
Mhm.
cannot and because one of the misconception if it's not St. Helena, then it's not authentic. That's not true. That's a
Mhm.
misnomer. That's a
Yeah,
good starting place
right.
because of the isolation of the Sea Islands, be it St. Helena Island or Beaufort
Mhm.
itself, which was a peninsula or
Right.
is a peninsula, and all the surrounding islands that make up Beaufort County, which was part of a larger island that was called Port Royal Island. And the beginning of the Reconstruction movement started here because we were the first set of Blacks to be freed in a mass number on one day.
Okay.
And so we're
Okay.
talking about November 7th of 1861. And that's only about 7 months after the Civil War began. And the
Wow.
Civil War itself on paper started in Beaufort at the Succession House, where they wrote those articles for South Carolina to be the first state to succeed. So it's a lot of first things that happened here. You have
Amazing.
Robert Small's house. He's the first well-known Black hero of the Civil War that didn't wait to be rescued, but took it on his own, along with 7 other Black crew members, and say, you know what? I can see freedom out there in the Charleston Harbor. If I can just get to those Union ships, then I can find freedom for me and my family. And had the audacity to think that he needed to be free and could be free and
Yes.
did it.
Yes.
And so all of that history is right here in Beaufort. We have the first National Cemetery in South Carolina, and there's a section where you see a lot of USCT, U.S. colored troops, that are actual veterans of the Civil War. A lot of history. The first public reading of the Emancipation Proclamation that President Lincoln wrote on September 22nd of 1862 was actually read here on January the 1st, 1863, right there at what is now our Naval Hospital. But at the time, before the war, it was the Smith Joyner cotton plantation. During the war, it became Camp Saxton, where the U.S. colored troops would bunker down. And it was the first place that Emancipation Proclamation was read. All of those landmarks are still here for people to see. Because Beaufort became the headquarters for the Union Army at the very beginning of the Civil War, it wasn't destroyed like a lot of the other southern towns, like Savannah and Charleston and Columbia. A lot of those places were burned and was bombed, but not Beaufort. So you can see the living history. You can walk, you can touch it. We have the lands and woodlands. It's 328 acres that newly freed Africans bought in the midst of the Civil War. It cost them $3,200. And if you heard about 15, 20 years ago, Ted Turner trying to take the Black folks' property, Gullah, that was the property because his property is right next to theirs, and he was encroaching on it. But they were able to go to court, set up a trust, incorporate, and so now every Labor Day weekend they have a festival called the Woodlands Lands and Woodlands River Fest that helps to raise funds to continue to protect that property. 100 of those acres are beachfront, unspoiled, undeveloped beachfront property. So it's a lot of things here to come and see, to just get, and you really need about 2-3 days to really get the gist of all of this history that's still intact right here in Beaufort County.
Okay, I'm glad you kind of ended there because let's talk about July 19th,
Okay,
right?
July.
So July 19th is the premiere of this new production.
Yes.
Where is it at? What time is it at? Where can people get tickets? How do we? And then we can go back and talk about where we're going to eat.
Okay.
And how we can build out our trips to come experience this beautiful
Okay.
piece of artistic history and enjoy some good food. And then, like you said, another thing that we as Black people need to do is enjoy the abundance of God's beauty in nature. Like, where are the beaches? Those belong to us just as much as anyone else. And how do we get to rest in abundance, like I said, of God's creation?
Well, mark your calendar, July 19th. We have a 2 p.m. matinee show, and then we have a 6 p.m. show on that day. We're going to have some Gullah artisans that would have been during that period. We have a basket weaver. We'll have indigo artists, a blacksmith. woodworker, all
Mhm.
of those things will be there for you to see demonstrations and some make it take it. And we'll have a rice tasting because rice was the main reason why they came and got us from the
Mhm.
rice coast of Africa because of our expertise that made these plantation owners some of the richest people before the
Mhm.
Revolutionary War. So that we'll have a rice tasting. Um, so I'm excited about that because some students that we just started a program called the Second Chance Program. And the first part of that is culinary arts. So they will be learning how to make some of those rice dishes that will you will get an opportunity to taste during that day. But our
Mhm.
production is at the May River Theater in Bluffton.
Mhm.
Um, you can Google. I don't. I wish I had the address. I could give it to you, but it's really easy to find. And it's only 200 seats, so you have to go ahead and get your tickets early.
Okay,
That's why
yes.
we're doing the two shows, two and again at 6 o'clock. But they can
Mhm.
go online on our GullahKinfolk.org website, and the tickets are on sale now. And some of the Gullah Kinfolk, if you know some of the Gullah Kinfolk performers, they will also have hard copy tickets. So, so the tickets are now on sale, and we're hoping that people will come out and enjoy the day. Like I said, you'll get a chance to see. We'll have other vendors out there as well, so that they can come and you can spend a day in Bluffton and really enjoy all the natural beauty as you learn about your history.
Thanks. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hmm.
Well, I am excited about this conversation. I'm excited to have met you. I am so grateful for Black BSB Live for hosting this conversation and promoting
Hmm.
this amazing body of work. Um, So thank you, and we will make sure that we can get people out to see your
Hmm.
promotion. I'm excited, but hopefully it'll be recorded and put up
Hmm.
on YouTube somewhere so folks that can't travel. But it sounds like July is a perfect time to make a little road trip and get
Hmm.
some
Hmm.
history, some
Yeah.
food, enjoy the water, and get to meet you and your colleagues.
Hmm.
Thank you so much, Miss Anita.
Thank you for having me, sweetheart, and you be blessed. And I look forward to coming and see
I am. I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna get your number, and
you.
we gonna
Yeah,
hang out. I like to eat. I like to talk about history, so we
girl,
can
listen,
sit on the
honey.
porch.
Girl, you got two of my favorite things eaten in history.
Oh, and I'll bring some tea. We can sit on the
All
porch.
right. Yeah, girl. You know it. That's that's our state drink is iced tea.
Oh, is it?
It is, honey.
Oh, so maybe I know there's some tea plantations,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
tea
mm.
farms down there,
Yeah,
so that
yeah,
would be nice.
yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
you coming home, honey. Bring the tea. Bring the iced tea.
It's
Mm-hmm.
fascinating. All righty.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so
Um,
much.
well, thank you. Thank you. So tell people, please, July 19th, put it on your calendar. Come on
Mm.
down. And Bluffton is only about 10 miles from, well, in fact, when you leave Bluffton and you cross the bridge, you're on Hilton Head Island. So, and Bluffton and Hilton Head are all part of the
Okay.
southern part of Beaufort County. So we live in the Beaufort city, so we're the northern part of Beaufort.
Okay. Well, I'm excited. I'm gonna
Yeah, come
tag
on.
along with Michelle
Yeah,
and her
come on.
kids.
Yeah.
Well, I know we had about 15 minutes for this conversation. We were past that.
Oh,
Um, I don't know if Michelle's going to stop the recording or what we're going to do. Let me see what happens here. Nope, nope.
mm,
All righty. Well, I
oh.
think we both just hit leave and then we will circle back later.
Well, okay, honey.
All
Give
righty.
it.
Talk to you later.
God
Bye.
bless.